funny how it's the opposite of what you think.
Oh, fuck.
You just
Facebook is not. Mm, well, shoot.
Facebook is not what?
Ah, there we are. Hello, hello. Yes, we are live. Facebook was having a little issue, and I was like, no, we have enough issues. Facebook doesn't get to have issues.
I got no
Oh,
issues. What are you talking about? I'm freaking living the dream over here, issue free. My only issue is that this hat looks crooked, but when I move it, it's not. It's the opposite. Yeah, it's tricky. It's tricky. It's tricky,
it's
tricky, tricky.
tricky. Yeah, you have to do on your camera, you have to do mirror your image or mirror your thing, but that's a setting.
Mirror me.
Tech shit. Tech shit. You know, I gotta tell you, I'm not when people say I'm not tech, oh, I'm not tech savvy. I'm like, you know what? Then go back to the Stone Ages because you need to get tech savvy. I'm tech savvy. I always say that. I'm tech savvy. I'm tech savvy. I'm fucking tech savvy. Always.
You know what? I would gladly go back to the Stone Ages. Just tell me where the bus leaves, and I'll be on it. Okay. I'll just
All
need all my
right.
horses with me. Well,
Yeah, well, that's the thing too. That I think that's one of the things about cool about what we do is that we have when you come out to our places, it is like going back into the Stone Ages because horses live in the moment. You know, horses live in the moment and they live in that space. So tell us. So Daniela is going to introduce us to her herd today, and she just got a new horse. And when you bring a new horse into your herd or a new person into your life, what does that look like? And what is that? Why is that important? So, Daniela, I'm going to let you take it away a little bit today. I'm going to let you lead this a little one for show us your hood. Who do you got behind you? Momo's butt. I see
so
that butt.
I got everyone back here. I got Mo, Oliver Twist. Hard for me to see in the screen. The Three's Company over there, Rose, Bourbon, and Scotty. And then
So,
our
can you walk
newest.
over to those guys? Can you get closer to the horses?
Well, I was gonna introduce you to Snow. She's right here.
Oh, she's okay. You are. Oh, now I'm gonna just give you guys. Here's your horse lesson for the day. Snow is actually not white, believe it or not. Snow is actually gray because Snow has black skin, whereas Trace, Tres, my horse Trace, is a Cremello, and his skin is pink. So he's actually closer to being white than she is. And there is no such thing actually as a white horse because it's a lethal gene. There's your genetics lesson for the day. It's called lethal white. So if you have a horse that ends up being actually white, they don't generally survive. So Snow, even though her hair is white, she's like a polar bear. Her skin is black. But and Trace, who is a Cremello, both of his parents were Palominos, incidentally, and he ended up being cream colored, actually. So tell us a little bit about Snow Snow. She's such a cutie bug.
Snow is such a sweetheart. She is our newest member to the farm. She's how old did she say she is? I don't remember now, but hi. Hey. Hey now. Hey now. Okay, we're walking.
You know, you're a
So
rock star. Get your game on. Go play.
so so
Look at
we're
that.
walking. She's leading the
Where's she
way. I'm
walking
going
to?
She is going to see the rest of the herd, it looks like.
Intentionally. Yeah. Wow. So yeah, let's see how this plays out. This is very interesting. So she's going over to say hi to Bourbon. Ooh, thanks, Snow, for showing up. She might be your Dante. Although she's a little too thoughtful to be a Dante, in my opinion. She's a little too contemplative. So
So yeah,
continue.
so she's new to, and she's kind of been falling in line pretty easily, pretty smoothly. She's a very chill girl. She's very confident in herself. She does not seem to take anything too personally that I have seen just yet. I mean, granted, I haven't really played with her. I've just been hanging out in the fields with them, but she's got a very calm temperament and she's super sweet. I mean, I've had some full moon rituals, and the most recent one she was here for, she was loving everybody. They were all around her. Oh, look at that. I finally got a thumbs up. So she was super she was super chill, and people were all around her, and she didn't have any issue with it, and I found that to be really cool and interesting to watch. um I don't know her history too much. I don't know what she's used to, so
Right?
you
Well,
know
that tells us right there, just because she's calm and chill, that tells you that if you got a Dante, a Bella, a Maverick, and a Trace, you go, well, okay, obviously she's that cuts it down 50-50. So we know she's not a Bella or a Maverick. If she's like super chill and and pretty calm and nothing phases her, that's definitely going to be more in the Trace and Dante world.
mhm.
So that
Yeah,
gives you, right away, it tells you a little bit about what her personality type is. Look at that cute butt. She's so
I
cute.
know. She really is super cute. And then, so, okay, so we got Bourbon here, and they seem to have everybody seems to be getting along pretty decently. I have noticed that Scotty does push her around a little bit, but I don't feel like it's because she can't, like, put an end to it. I think she's just following suit. You know what I mean? Like, it feels like she's just like, all right, whatever, like she's done, because she's had interaction with him where she puts him in his place. And so,
Mm.
but now that they're all together,
Now
it
let's
seems
talk
like,
about that for a second. When she puts Scotty in his place, how does Scotty respond?
I mean, he fell in line pretty quickly. He didn't argue
Boom.
it. Yeah.
That's right. Hey Phil, how do geldings react to a new mare? That's a great question. I love questions. Questions are the answer. It depends. If you're and I'm trying to read so Phil McDonald asked the question, how do geldings react to a new mare? It depends on the gelding, and it depends on the mare. And I hate depends. Oh, it depends, but it's really true because like Bella, my Bella will kick the crap out of Trace, and it depends a little bit too. And I think if you're asking about like, do they ever mount them or try and act like stallions, etc., sometimes that does happen. And because they've been, if you've ever watched Game of Thrones, Worm still had feelings for that girl, right? So they still have emotions and feelings, but they don't have, they're eunuchs in horse world. They're neutered, so they don't have that stallion mentality. That testosterone doesn't flow through them the same way, so they respond differently.
Although, if you remember, when Rose first got here,
Yes,
where's she going? When Rose first got here, Scotty, you would have thought he was a stallion. He was
yes.
so hot for her. So hot for her. I swear their interactions at some point was like watching National Geographic, because I'm telling you, he was dying to be with her. And he would have mounted her if he was tall enough. He couldn't reach. He
Short.
tried multiple times and she was okaying it for a while. And then after a while, I think she was like, dude, you can't get this job done. I'm off to bigger and better horses. And that's when
Step
she
off.
decided,
And then
yeah,
remember when we put Trace in with Scotty and
yeah.
Rose, and they
And
were like,
they had it out. Yes.
boom. So just that, and Phil, that's such a great question because, we are all humans, or we're all individuals and we all have our, so even if you aren't, even if you don't got the equipment, that doesn't mean you don't have the desire, and that was what was happening because my white horse Trace and Scotty are the same persona. They're both Trace personas. And they were like, Rose is my bitch. Remember that? And we were like watching this all go down. I was like, holy crap. Holy crap. So when you introduce new people or to new horses and to herd situations, everything goes really in a very interesting way. So yeah, I have a gelding. I'm thinking of adding a mare for company. Yeah, and Phil, it doesn't matter. I mean, it does actually. This is if you're going if you don't have a preference, if you're like I if there's a specific mare that you want and that's what you want to do, great. But I would encourage you to get him another gelding. Get another gelding as a buddy if that's easy. What we do with our horses is we put them in artificial environments. These guys, like Snow, didn't decide to show up and say, "Oh, hey, can I go meet Scotty and Bourbon and Rose?" No, she got put on a trailer because her owner decided she needed to be at Daniela's, which was a yeah, good job because Daniela's place is amazing. So, but we make decisions, we make ethological decisions for our animals and our children too, by the way, with they don't have without their permission. We, you know, we or without they didn't sign up for it. Like Scotty didn't decide, sign up to be in this pasture. He just kind of ended up here. And not to make him a victim of his circumstance, because oh my God, I would love to be a victim of Daniela's circumstance. Look how amazing she is with her horses. Look at this guy. Look at how much he loves her.
I
Right.
know.
But we put them in these artificial containers and then we expect, it's kind of like going to work. If you got a new job, you don't know who your coworkers are going to be. You're just like, all right, I'm like Gladiator, or like as one, who knows what's going to come out the gate, literally. So now these guys, and because Daniela has such an open, beautiful space, they can make decisions in their own time and respect their own bubbles. Look at Rosie Poo.
Hi.
Hi, Rose. So this is Rose. So tell us about Rose.
Rose. Um, what can I tell you about Rose? Well, Rose is the equivalent of your Bella, right? So
Yep. She's a Bella
she
persona.
she definitely can have some she can be an high anxiety chick, but she's been pretty interesting too because in the beginning when we put them all together, she was definitely exerting her position in the hierarchy, more so than anyone else really. Like Urban and Scotty, not so much, but she was definitely, and I felt that it was like marking her territory with Bourbon and Scotty, mostly Bourbon, but Scotty too, because up until this beautiful white or non-white horse showed up, Rose had two boyfriends, and she just drove Snow
Yeah.
away just now, so like she
Yep.
still likes to kind of throw her 2 cents in when nobody's asking her for her opinion.
That was not a dig, but it was actually
No,
an absolute truth because Bellas, we tend to put our opinions in when they're not asked for. I do it too. I'm a Bella.
I do it
I'm a Bella.
sometimes too. And I actually wasn't saying that for anything other than actually talking about what just happened.
Yes. And what was leading up to that, And so now they're all just kind of chilling there in the background, but there is a definite conversation happening. And if you pull back a little to where we can see, like, yeah, there you go, perfect. And how interesting that. Okay, so I'm going to just say this, an unbelievable mirror. I have a bay that is a Maverick, and Daniela has a bay, Bourbon Bay, that is a Maverick. I have a white horse. Daniela has a white horse. That's actually Ricky, which like Ricky, if you're watching this, we love you. And
She's
then
actually here. She's here right now with one of
oh,
her
okay, okay.
clients. Yeah.
And then I have a chestnut. His name is Dante. She has a chestnut. And
I'm
then
trying
I
to.
have an interesting colored horse. I have a blue roan, my Bella. And Daniela has an interesting colored horse, Scotty, which is right behind her. That just resonated with me that you have, it's almost like Advent candles. That you have three colors and a white, and I have three colors and a white, like almost
Mm,
identically speaking. How interesting. So tell us a little bit about each one of your, and then you got the littles, and I have a little. So fucking crazy how the parallels.
Yeah. Um, what do you want me to tell you?
Whatever you like. Look at that. Look at Scotty's butt. I love Scott. I like all your horses. I love to see them all out in the pasture, just chilling and hanging out. Tell us a little bit more about each one of these guys and how their personalities are. How has it been since Snow showed up?
Right. So Scotty's, he I think had the biggest transition because I had put him in with her first and wanted him to connect with her, and they connected pretty easily. He was a little torn at first, and then I put a couple of littles in with them, and he was protecting the littles because she was bullying them a little bit, and seeing that was actually really, really kind of cute because it showed me how connected these guys are. Like, they are a family, like a legit family. And because there was a couple of times where I went to throw hay when it was it was Oliver and Mo that I put with Scotty and Snow. Huh, Oliver and Mo, Scotty and Snow. And when I went to feed a couple times, Snow was aggressively pushing the littles away, and Scotty immediately bit back at her and was like, "No, you do not tell my little brothers what to do. Only I do." Like, it was like that energy. And I found it to be really very endearing, actually. I thought it was super cute, and kind of interesting. So I feel like it kind of put him in more of a big brother space with these guys.
Mm. And what is
Um,
it when you feel like he's in a big brother space? What does that mean to you? Tell me a little bit more about that, because that's really Trace is very similar. So I'm always looking for patterns. So this is
yeah,
interesting.
I mean, just kind of like willing to stand up for his family not being treated properly, like willing to kind of be a little protector for them.
And what is it?
Um,
What do you feel like it takes to do that? Like what is the yeah.
I guess it takes a fearless or courageous confidence. It takes, being able to stand up to whoever it is. And Scotty's definitely that guy. I've just never seen him do it because before she got here, there were no other, I guess, opportunities for him to show up like that. Where
Yeah.
did I pet his little butt? The cleanest spot on his body right now. It's just his little booty.
So mud butt. Such a
But
mud
uh
butt.
but yeah, so I think he kind of stepped up a little, like exerting his confidence, exerting his voice, and I think that's actually something he's been needing to do for a long time because since Rose got here and Bourbon kind of stole her from him, even though he didn't steal her, but she chose that. I
Right.
think Scotty has until now been at the bottom of the food chain with those guys. And so being able to kind of step up and be like, well, no, wait a minute. This is not okay. And I can actually say that, and you're actually going to listen, I think has been an interesting, right, buddy? Oh, my big boy. He's such a big boy. I love you so
Yeah,
much.
and it's really interesting to think too, because I think about Trace, who picks on Tuesday incessantly, but is also like really protective of her. And
Mm,
you think about yeah, and he even has challenged Dante and Bella a little, same kind of concept. So it's really interesting when you have like that herd, that the herd dynamic with what you're talking about with the horses, but isn't it still true for people too? Aren't and who the topic today is, when you meet somebody new, how do you know when? And oh, look at the Desi, little white
the,
kitty. Look at you bringing all the whiteys into your world. All the whiteys. Look at the little kitty. That's Desi, yeah.
yep, that's Desi, a little
Um,
crazy cat.
Well, and so when you bring somebody into your world, what does that look like? And how, tell us a little bit about how you introduced the herd. Like, what was that like? How you brought her
You
in?
know,
She's been
I've
there about
never I
a week
never
or so.
did that before, and it was interesting how I did it because I just kind of went with whatever I felt, so I had her alone for a couple days, and then I put all of them in the barn in their stalls together, mostly because it was raining, and so the elements kind of guided the way for me because, or Mother Nature did, because I said to myself, I didn't want to put the horses in the barn all day and then she would be alone all day down there, and so I thought, well, I'll just put them all in their stalls and then they won't be alone, but they won't be interacting either, not physically anyway.
Right,
And that turned out to be actually a really good thing to have done because I think they definitely connected a lot that way, being in the stalls and being able to look at each other and probably have their own conversations. Who knows what the conversations were? And then I put Scotty in with her. Then I put the two littles in with her, and then just one day on a whim, put Rose and Bourbon in. And I mean, it was very minimal, like uh, disagreements. I guess it was.
no dust and mud, right?
No, no, yeah. They kind of all fell in line pretty quickly and easily.
So what was the
Um,
whim? That's the key piece. It's like what when you and you guys that are guys, if you're watching this, like what when you think about that little thing, like that just happened to me very recently where I was like, I need to make a decision and I need to take action on it like right now. I couldn't explain it. It was like sort of like on a whim. But
it's that gut feeling. It's that intuition, that gut feeling that sometimes sounds like a very soft whisper that you can very quickly and easily ignore. I mean, that's my experience with my gut and my intuition. It's always, and I do find that it's the very first instant thought. Like it's usually the first instant thought that for me is typically a very quiet thought. Like I was walking down to the paddock and Rose and Bourbon were right there, right next to where Scotty and Snow were. And something about the way they were standing, I just had this quick, like instant thought of I should just put them all in right now. And then and then
can
I
you tap
second
into why? Like what was it that guided you to that? Do you have a
I what I've been tapping into this year or realizing about myself is that when I'm looking at things, I always notice things, and I always thought it was just I thought anybody could see it or notice it. I'm realizing more and more that not everybody can see it or notice it. So even though there was something about their body language and the way they were looking at them that made me feel this instant feeling of like they want to be together. Let me put them together. But I couldn't tell you like I couldn't explain to you what that look was or what the body language was because like I can't even remember. I just remembered seeing it and instantly feeling that. Um,
feeling? Has anyone here ever had a conversation with themselves that has led them down a path and then they go, "Oh man, I sure wish I hadn't trusted my intuition."
yeah, right. It's usually
What a
the opposite, right?
drunk bitch that thing is, you
It's
know?
usually the opposite. It's usually, damn it, I knew it. I knew I should have done that. I knew I should have said. I knew I should have. So
Right.
yeah,
And the cool thing is, and I love that, you ever have these conversations after the fact, you go, "Oh man, I wish I had said that to my boss when I was walking out the door," whatever. And it's usually out of fear or ego that we don't say those things or we don't speak our truth in a way that makes sense to the other person or the other individual. And so, who else you got out there? Burby, there's Burby. I love Bourbon.
Burbs, Burb
Burbs.
Doob.
So Bourbon is a maverick persona, and he's amazing. Tell us a little bit about him. He's awesome.
Bourbon is my master connector. my meditator, my soft spoken yet strong minded guy.
I'm going to point something really important out right now. When if I had asked Daniela to describe bourbon to me or like introduce someone to bourbon a year ago, she would have introduced bourbon as he won the Hambletonian, he was a this and that, he was a world champion, blah blah blah. And now when I say introduce us to bourbon, she tells me something very different. Tell me why you think that is.
Well, I think I know him a lot better now than I did. I mean, in the beginning, I really didn't know him that well. I didn't even really understand him that well, which is funny considering that I'm a lot like him with my, uh, I can definitely overthink decisions at times. I definitely have trust issues, and he is very similar. Um, but
Trust
I
issue.
didn't, huh?
I said, maybe I should have. See, that's a beautiful thing. When I talked to Daniela, she goes, "You need to have more trust issues." I trust you. So there's that balance, right? So I don't
Well,
have to, as go ahead.
and that idea actually came up. I was thinking about that earlier, and it's actually a thought process that I've had for years about this feeling of not necessarily having to trust other people, but more so trusting ourselves to decide who we can rely on, to decide who's going to do what they said they were going to do, to decide, because people say things all the time, and not everyone follows through, and not everyone means what they say. And it's not because they're malicious or they're mean or everyone's got their reasons. I do think people try to do their best all the time. But I mean, I can't tell you how many times I come across people and they say things like, "Oh my gosh, I'm going to do this, or I'm going to come, or I'm going to do, or I'm going to," and then nothing comes of it. And so, or even, here's another perfect, beautiful example. I got a flat tire the other night.
Oh yeah.
AAA came. AAA came yesterday. They put my donut on for me, and I went today and I got the tire. But so he put the donut on, and I said to the guy, "That donut looks like it's actually kind of flat too." And he's like, "Oh no, that's just how it is." And I said, "Oh, okay." And he left. I looked at the donut this morning and I was like, "There's no freaking way. That looks flat to me." I went and I hooked up. I have a thing to put air in the tires. It was almost completely flat. So now here's a person who's telling me, "Oh no,
A
it's okay." Now,
professional
a
that's supposed
professional,
to be
correct.
an expert.
Right. So it's not to say that I have to trust him. I have to trust myself. And to me, that didn't feel right. It didn't feel right. And maybe he didn't realize me, or maybe he doesn't know what he's talking about. It doesn't matter. I don't need to trust him. I need to trust me. And if your gut and your intuition is not strong enough to give you those messages, well, then you better start doing practices that are going to enhance it, and they're going to get it to the level that you need it to be,
Amen.
because we all have what we need within us all the time. And so I'm so glad that I'm smart enough to say to myself, let me double check that. Because if I had just listened to him, and then I could potentially turn around and say, this is why I don't trust people. But it's not to say he didn't have good intentions. Energetically, he seemed like a sweet kid. I just think he just didn't know, or maybe he wasn't paying enough attention. So many people are not paying enough attention to even actually acknowledge what they're seeing right in front of them. So I'm not going to rely on that. I can't. If I had gotten in the car and driven, I might have ended up with another flat tire and not even
Exactly.
had a donut. So like, it's just a perfect example to me. This has been something, that message that has come to me for years. I've had this for because of examples just like that. I can't necessarily
And
listen.
yet,
I don't.
you met me how many times before I came and brought my 6 horses up to your property, it's like it's so powerful to understand that concept of, like, who you trust, at what level, right away and tapping into that intuition. And Phil comes back and he goes, "It's tough as many people don't follow through with what they say." Now, here's something I that is a big trigger for me is if you say it, do it. If you say it, do it and do it when. Don't do it.
The
You
yeah.
can't give me a pint of blood after I'm dead. It doesn't do me any fucking good. If I need, if you are going to do it, say, and here I'm going to add to this: do it the first time. If you say you're going to do it the first. When you say it the first time, do it then. Don't wait. And oh, look at little guys. I love your littles. We need to get a
And then
cart for.
I don't know if I can't see how to see this little cat. She's on my foot. She's just sitting on my foot. This little
How do you
nugget.
feel? And she's so cute. Oh my God. But how do you feel about people that when they say they're going to do something the first time, one time, and they do it?
Oh, I love people like that because now that talk about building trust, right? I mean that, and I mean, uh, so many thoughts. But like, I think that that is absolutely a great way to build trust and to get to know people too. And I think that what you just said before, and even what was his name, Phil said, see so many
Yeah,
people say
Phil,
things. How well do we know these people, and how much time are we spending to really get to know these people? I mean, we talk about this a lot, you and I, how it takes a long time. I mean, it took me almost 2 years to really get to know Bourbon. 2 years,
course.
right? And yet, here we are. I mean, I'm single, so I can speak to this on dating sites, thinking we're going to meet someone and decide if we want to engage in a relationship in what, a couple of days, a couple of dates, a couple of months. I mean,
Couple of
let's
texts,
face it.
couple of thoughts. Yeah,
Right. And so not only is everyone putting their best foot forward in the very beginning, but it takes time for the true colors to really start to emerge. And
that's
when
right.
those true colors start to emerge, who are these people? How do they treat their parents? How do they treat
It's
their
so
friends? It's like, getting to really know and see. And so people who do what they say, I
and
love those
when
people.
they say, do what you say when you say, and in my statement, I say, I do what I say when I say, and I run my business clean and tight. Like
And you know
that's
what?
cool.
And and not to cut you off, but because I don't want to lose this thought. But to that point, I work so hard to be in my integrity, to do what I say I'm going to do. And if I can't do it, I am very quick to say, I'm so sorry, I can't do it. Because let's face it, we can always make a lot of promises. And maybe, there's people out there, those people pleasers. I used to be one of them who will say yes to a lot of things because they want those people to like them. But then if you can't actually do it, then just admit you can't do it. There's a lot of power in taking responsibility for your actions and admitting when you're wrong, because it's okay to mess up and it's okay to say I'm sorry. It's not
That's right.
okay to mess up, not say you're sorry, not acknowledge it, and not actually try to make amends, unless you're willing to burn that bridge and never cross it again. Then fine, do what you want. But if you want to build relationships, you want to have quality relationships, then start owning your shit. Like we say, or I say all the time, is keep your side of the street clean and
I
do what
love
you say
that.
you're going to do. And if
Keep
you can't
your
do it,
street clean. My commitment to you is that I will keep my side of the street clean. If I commit to doing something with you, I will do my absolute best to maintain that commitment. Right? Anything outside of that, and that is the full expression of myself is I will not own your boundaries. As a, okay, Phil, then you and I need to talk because you need to Phil says, as a people pleaser myself, it's hard to say no. I'm like, okay, then we don't have to say no. We don't have to. No,
well, you know
Phil.
what? There's a
Phil,
quote
get
on my
boundaries. Tell us
Phil.
no.
There's a quote on my barn door that says, "The only thing keeping you from getting what you want is the story you tell yourself about why you can't have it," which is that it's too hard to say no. You could change that story right away. And you know
Instantly.
what? The more you do say no, it feels so good. It feels so good to say no, and for people to say, because a lot of times we think they're going to be mad or whatever. You'd be surprised at how often people will be like, "Okay,
Oh
no
my God.
problem."
Daniela has taught me this lesson so powerfully. And I go, I gotta channel my inner Sicilian today, you know? And then she like snafus me with like, well, why'd you do it then? Because they're trying to help. And I'm like, oh God. So, but you to say no, like this is no longer okay. And from today, if anything from the past is irrelevant. When you say no, with a period at the end of the sentence, everything prior to that becomes irrelevant unless it's like something you need to deal with legally. And then you move forward with the yes. And that's what I'm watching. I'm watching you as you walk around with the horses. Where's Snow now? I'm watching these guys go, yes, no, yes, no, 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 yes. So she's over there hanging out with where's Rose and Snow? Because those are the two
So
girls.
Snow's over there with Ricky. Rose is over here.
Oh, interesting. So now we introduced another individual, Ricky, who is Snow's um
Owner.
partner, owner, just showed up. So that changed the dynamic. And Rose is not going to get involved with that. Can almost put money on it.
No, and Scotty's over here. Bourbon's
Right.
the only one that's over there with Oliver and Mo.
Not interesting.
And the
So,
donks are in the arena.
all right, cool. Well, you guys, if this is just like such a very fluid and evolving conversation about how to know who to have in your life and how to know who not to have in your life. And I just had a really good conversation with a dear friend of mine earlier this morning, and we were talking about rejection. And one of the things that came up is um I wish I had had more people to help me when I was going through some of my darkest times. And
Mm,
she said, "But then you wouldn't be who you are now." And then I remembered one of the things that one of my coaches told me. If you don't have a coach, get a coach. I have several coaches, but that my coach told me at the time, and she said, people that collect butterflies, like to have you ever seen like those shadow boxes and they have butterflies and whatever? He said when they want to they take a little X-Acto knife or a scalpel and they'll cut a little slit in the cocoon to allow the butterfly to emerge more elegantly so it doesn't if it's damage its wings, especially if it's a rare variety. So they get it so the wings will unfurl. But if the butterfly does not go through the struggle of getting out of the cocoon on its own and risk damaging its wings, it will never have the strength to fly. And so may have this beautiful thing, but it doesn't have the strength to fly. And that happens a lot of times with people. We're like, oh, well, she's there. It's a rejection, or it's a pain, or it's a whatever. And I think specifically when you look at um, it doesn't have to be a struggle, but you do have to have the strength to be able to understand this. So that's what creates contrast. That's what allows us to have alignment as to what we are and who we are and who and we want to engage with. Does that make sense? And I'm
yeah.
watching Snow build her strength in her wings, so to speak, as she goes and engages with the horses. And it's a beautiful thing that they're just kinda just chilling and hanging out, although it's fun to watch them play too. I had, I'll never forget this, I had a horse, with Trace, he was a red and white paint horse, kinda like Scotty, and I said, "Oh my god, you," I was watching the woman play with her horse, and I said, "Oh my god, you got can we play with can we put these guys in together? 'Cause, they need to play." And those 2, Trace and this paint horse, like Scotty, played for hours. I mean, not hours, for a long like, we were all like, "It's dinner," and they were Trace, it was he had a big thick coat, for Florida, and, they were both, like, sweaty, and the one horse Trace had gotten the one horse to jump a jump. I mean, it had drawn a crowd, like, how much they were engaging with each other. And when you have
Uh,
that kind of engagement, like, it's like Wonder Twin powers activate. And it's so interesting that you said, well, I just knew, I don't know when, I just knew to put bourbon in and with snow. How do you know who to put in your inner circle and in your relationship labyrinth?
and
Powerful.
to further that point, because you and I had discussed the potential progression of who was going to go in next and how it was going to do. And we had agreed that we were going to save Rose for last and it was going to be a whole thing. And so, in that moment of having that gut feeling, I quickly was like, well, no, 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 no. Jen and I said to do it this way. And then immediately I was like, well, you know what? No, this actually feels right. I'm going to do it. So,
Yes.
also being able to,
Call an audible
acknowledge
on the
that.
play. Yeah.
That's right.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Well, guys, I think that this is really powerful, and I love that everyone's getting along. That the cat's out in the field, that the horses are doing like it's natural. This is natural, and Daniela has such an incredible, beautiful space. So make sure you're following us on all our socials. We go live every Friday around the 1 o'clock hour, and you can tune in to see us. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and definitely come out and see us. If you want to come out and play with these horses, Daniela has an incredible kids camp. I don't work with children except by private treaty, and but Daniela has a kids camp coming up in the summer. You can come and experience that. And if you want to come and experience cats and horses and donkeys and nature, and teach your kids about confidence, because it takes something to be confident around an animal like a 1,200-pound animal. Now, little man here isn't 1,200 pounds, but these horses are. So, I don't know about you, but I a lot of these day and age, these young people are soft. They're soft and they don't have confidence in themselves, so they ascribe to whatever the conventional wisdom and the indoctrination of the world. So come and go, like you said, go back to the Stone Age a little and come back into what it can teach you about yourself. Daniela has an incredible program up in upstate New York, and I work with businesses and women down here in West Palm Beach. And so reach out. We're working with rescued horses and we're doing good things. So we love to hear from you. Phil, thanks for tuning in and chiming in and asking great questions and being a part of this week's live, and tune in next Friday as we do every Friday. So thank you very much for being here today, and believe in yourself. It will change your life. Daniela, anything you'd like to add besides the fact that you're
Happy
stunning and
Easter if you celebrate, and have a great weekend. And thanks for joining. And then I hope to see you guys soon. Something somewhere for an event or whatever. I'm gonna go hang out with these wild animals now. And have a great day, everybody.
all right. Bye guys. Thanks for tuning in.
Bye.